When we do overlay analysis, we normally assume that the input features or input areas are just about right for analysis. Okay? What about if the input are not as expected in the format or in the kind of attributes? In that case, we have to do some pre-processing of the data. And two of the common forms for pre-processing are dissolving and clipping. So we're going to talk about this two forms of pre-processing, although there's other kind of processing that you may find. Okay? But these two forms will lead you to explore some of the pre-processing functions. One of the analysis or pre-processing before we do overlay analysis is called dissolving features. This dissolving function deals with a case that your data is too detailed, maybe have a more refined category than you need. For example, we are interested at figuring out the parcel set within or outside of this flood area. However, if you look at the flood data, the flood zones data, they actually describe the flood area into several kinds of zones by AB or W or FW. So for the purpose of analysis, in this case, we do not need to differentiate those different kind of zones. If they are flooded zones, they are flooded zones. Okay, before we want to do this overlay analysis, we may want to merge all these different zones into one big area. So the expected result will be something like the map on the right. Okay, the flooded zones is treated as one thing. So by dissolving features, we'll be able to simplify, and organize the data to the level is just about right to answer our questions. So dissolve operation basically looking at each of the features, mostly polygon features, and then look for the other features surrounded. Okay? If you find there's other features surrounded also have a similar kind of condition, and then the system will basically merge them. Okay, so what is the condition? Okay, the condition can be that the features are just about anything in that category. Okay, as long as the flood zones, we're going to merge them. Okay, or we could decide that there are certain attributes that can define the classes. Okay, if my neighboring area is the similar class as me do, and we can merge them as larger areas. Okay, so these two kind of dissolve apply to very different situation. Okay? But in our case, basically, we don't really need to use the attributes to define the dissolving area. Okay, any of this flood zone area, as long as they're neighbors, we're going to treat them as one bigger area. Your map, your input map, may simply just have too much data that you're not going to use. Okay? And by including all this redundant or unuseful data in your results or in your processing, you can to increase the cost of doing that. And also is kind of distracting the audience. Okay? So for example, the book, okay, Omnis book, basically used this particular case study where the forest harvesting kind of what we call bid on the commercial harvesting of the forest. Okay? So there's only one out of the 5 areas actually are ready for bidding, and but the data sets actually show all the forest stands of the 5 areas. Okay? In this case, we may want to basically pick up or extract only the study area area 5, area F, so that the data become clean. And so clipping is one of those applications, one of those operations that can do cookie cutting, just pick up the areas of interest, okay, and leave other data in outside of the scope. Yeah. So you normally we just use a shape, okay, we use one shape to cut another shape. So the system will decide what part of the features are inside that shape, and those inside will be kept to the output. Those outside will be thrown away. Okay? So this is very similar to intersect, but in this case we have very specific clipping purpose. It can be done in ArcGIS system. If you visit the geoprocessing menu, and the clipping will be immediately there. When you invoke this clipping functions, it will automatically invoke a dialog that asks you to select the input feature class, okay, or input layer. And that layer will basically involves the target, okay, the target, which layer you want to clip, okay. And then you also have a criteria, or this kind of you can think of this as the mode, okay, or the cookie cutter. Which area is a quick cookie cutter? The cookie cutter area could be something you define, okay, as a single shapes, or sometimes it could be just a selection from another layer. Okay? So the area 5, area F, in this particular application of forest harvesting, is one of the areas that in this lease area. Okay, so if we select the F area, that can be used to cookie cut the streams data.